So today I watched four films, but I'm going to split them into two different reviews and not in the order that I watched them because I'm splitting them by the kind of films they are. So you'll see why I put these two together while you're watching, you read the title. The first film I watched today was, all of these films are from Filmstruck, obviously, and they were all added like 6 months ago, and they expire next week, and so I watched them because I always fail at watching things until the last minute. These are all from the Couture de Cinema theme. It's all films about fashion, and I had seen two of the films in the theme, but I had not seen four of the others, so now I've watched them all. And the first one I watched was Robert Altman's Prêt-à-Porter, or Ready to Wear. It was released as Ready to Wear in America because Miramax thought that Prêt-à-Porter would confuse Americans. Now we have a website called Net-a-Porter, so who's confused now, Miramax? Anyways, I think calling it Prêt-à-Porter is better. It is in the style of many an Altman. It is all over the place. It is a large ensemble cast, largely, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my God, improv. There we go. Largely improv, and there's a great interview with Kim Basinger in Interview magazine where she talks about how basically she was doing promotion for The Getaway in France when she found out that he wanted her in this movie, and she's like, sure, why not? And then she had like no time to learn the role. There was actually nothing really written for her. She just made it all up, except for the character's name and that she was interviewing people. And I thought that was brilliant. It's maybe my favorite Kim Basinger performance of everything I've seen of her. She's so good in this, like so good. So this cast includes Marcello Mastroianni, Sophia Loren, Jean-Pierre Cassel, Kim Basinger, Chiara Mastroianni, who is obviously the daughter of Catherine Deneuve and Marcello, Stephen Ray, Anuka Me, Rupert Everett, Rossi De Palma, Forrest Whitaker, Lily Taylor, Richard E. Grant, Julia Roberts, Tim Robbins, Lauren Bacall, Lyle Lovett, Tracy Ullman, Sally Kellerman, Linda Hunt, Danny Aiello, Sam Robards, and my one and only Terry Garr. I love Terry Garr. She is so funny in this movie. And then lots of people play themselves, including Harry Belafonte, Cher, Helena Christensen, Terry Mugler, Tatiana Patzitz, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Assia Miyake, Bjork, Carla Bruni, you name it. If they were at Fashion Week in 1993 when they filmed this, or 94, I'm not sure if they filmed it in 94 or 93, but it was released in 94. If they were in Fashion Week, they're in the movie. Basically, it follows a bunch of people in the wake of the death of the head of French fashion, and how that his death causes a whirlwind of things. And also, it's a satire of this world and the ridiculousness of both the personal and professional behaviors of everyone involved. Everyone's terrible. Everyone's charming. It's delightful. I really enjoyed this movie. I liked Kim Basinger plays this fashion journalist who really ties all of it together. She's the glue of the film. And I don't know that I would have enjoyed the film as much if she hadn't been as strong as she was, but she was so strong and so enjoyable, popping up and just playing it straight throughout. And then, spoilers, at the end, she just loses it in this final sequence that is amazing. And I just really enjoyed it. So I don't know that if you're a fan of fashion, if you're not a fan of fashion, if you'd enjoy the film quite as much. It's definitely, bits of it are very inside baseball in terms of knowing what the jokes are, but I enjoyed it, and as many of you may know, may not know, I don't know, I went to fashion school for an entire year after undergrad, and because I wanted to make menswear. That was my original fashion. I don't make menswear, so that panned out, but I still love fashion and follow it intensely. So this was enjoyable and great look at 90s fashion and in that weird place that it was in right before heroin chic took over, when the supermodels were still there, and the rise of some of these interesting filmmakers, these interesting outsider sort of almost punk uh, designers that were coming up, and then the spoofing of some of the ones that were coming up. It was fantastic. So I really enjoyed this film. The other narrative film that I watched, was actually the third film I watched today, was 2005's Kinky Boots, directed by Julian Jarrold. He also did Becoming Jane, which is not a great film, yet one that I truly love. This one stars Joel Edgerton as Charlie Price, who has inherited his father's shoe business. This is his family's shoe business, but shoes are declining. Well-made goods are declining. It's the beginning of fast fashion, and people wanting to sell shoes that fall apart so that they can sell more shoes that fall apart so that they can sell more shoes, because in the long run you make more money the more you sell rather than selling one expensive good piece of shoewear. He is inspired when he meets a drag queen named Lola, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, whose boot falls apart in the midst of being mugged. He gets the idea between her and an employee played by Sarah Jane Potts, who basically help him realize that there is a niche industry here of drag queen men who love to wear women's style shoes, but women's style shoes are not built to carry the weight of a grown man, and thus an idea is born. This was based on a true story of a true place in Northampton that started making boots. They were named Kinky Boots. It all comes to a head when they show their collection in Milan during Shoe Week. Shoe Week is in Milan, if you didn't know that. And basically the film has a lot to say about masculinity, about queerness, about accepting queerness, about internalized homophobia, about otherness, all kinds of things, all mixed together. Parts of it are kind of really by the books, and parts of it are really striking and wonderful. And obviously, Chiwetel Ejiofor is amazing in this. He received a Best Actor in a Comedy Golden Globe nomination for his performance. And then the film inspired a Broadway musical in which the score is done by Cyndi Lauper, and she became the first woman to win Best Original Score solo at the Tonys. I'm going to spoil this a little bit too, because I'm not a big fan of Joel Edgerton. Edgerton. He's all right in this, but he won me over in the very end when he's like fucked it up with Lola, and because he's let his own homophobia and confusion just get in the way, and he has no models for his show, and so he wears the giant latex red boots. It's hilarious and amazing, and I think if it weren't for that moment, I don't know that I would have enjoyed him in the film, but that sold the character for me, whereas I enjoyed Chiwetel throughout. So these are both great films. You have about a week left to watch them on Filmstruck before they expire. Definitely seek them out and watch my second review where I talk about the other two films I watched today.